What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Coming to you guys a little bit later than I usually do. Usually, I like to get this video out a little bit earlier in the day, but so it was today. We got the data, we got the information, we've got a lot of things that we're going to want to say about that very successful game in Atlanta yesterday morning for the Seahawks. And let's just start with the simple question of who is playing, how much are they playing, what are the rotations looking like, what might be working, what might not be working. I think you guys kind of know the drill here, but basically we got to just figure out who's getting on the field and how much and what adjustments might need to be made and maybe what adjustments are being made that are actually working. So, we're going to start with the offense here. 60 offensive snaps. 60 offensive snaps for the Seahawks. That's kind of low. That's close to the season low of 58 against the Giants. But that game was a great example of why a low snap count on offense is not necessarily always going to be bad. The main reason why the Seahawks only ran 60 plays on offense was because one of their touchdowns did not require the offense to touch the ball at all. And in fact, that was also true in the other game where we had 60 or fewer offensive snaps. So when your defense scores a touchdown, your offense is going to have a lot of pressure removed from them to have to run a lot of plays because that basically takes away a possession, right? If Boye Mafe doesn't force that fumble and Kirk Cousins just throws an incomplete pass, Atlanta's punting, we're taking over deep in our own territory, and maybe we put together a long drive, but in a circumstance like that, what we got was better for sure. And also, because we're ahead at the end of the game, we're not flailing around trying to run a bunch of offensive plays so we can stage some kind of crazy comeback. So, yeah, 60 plays, not a lot, but in this particular context, not necessarily a bad thing. Running back split almost even. 33 snaps for Charbonnet, 28 for Ken Walker. Obviously, this is because, well, Walker was sick. And Walker still ended up playing a really good game, by the way, so we made it work. I know Charbonnet, I know people bag on Charbonnet a little bit at times like this, but Charbonnet's the kind of player who needs better run blocking than what he was getting out there, and there just wasn't a lot out there for him. And he continues to be clearly the better of the two when it comes to things like pass protection. So, still value he's putting on out there. And the fact that he's able to at least give us those reps, the 33 snaps, adequately, allows us to get away with having Walker being sick. And McIntosh, of course, gets the one snap, and he did actually get a carry. So, seems pretty understandable to me. Makes sense. Wide receivers, we got DK Metcalf with 47 snaps, and remember, he missed most of the fourth quarter. So, he was basically on the field for every play until he got hurt. Very close. Tyler Lockett sees I don't want to say noticeable shift downwards, but compared to the last couple weeks, 36 snaps, that's 60%. That is lower than what he averages on the season, although it's in line with some of the things that we did earlier this year, like against the Broncos and against the Dolphins. So I don't want to say that it's wildly uncharacteristic, but I did notice that the Lockett snaps went down in tandem with something else interesting happening in this game. More on that in a second. JSN, 51 snaps. So he leads the team in snaps for a wide receiver, although Metcalf obviously would have if he didn't get hurt. Yeah, we need to have a conversation about how JSN plays more than 50 snaps against the Falcons in a dome against, what's his name, D. Alford, and only has 9 receiving yards. And I know he had a great trick play. That was awesome. Good for him. But that should not be happening. Near as I can tell, he is still getting open. So something else is just not quite there. And I know his hands are not very good, but I don't think that's an excuse to just not throw him the ball when he's open. And again, in this game, it's not like the offense was bad. The offense was actually very good. So I'm not saying that like it was a dire thing that we have to address, but it's wild to me that JSN can play 51 snaps in a game and only have 9 receiving yards. Shouldn't happen. The thing that I wanted to talk about earlier, though, was Jake Bobo saw a season high in snaps Little bit more than he got against Detroit. 29 snaps. He played almost half the game. Jake Bobo got almost half the game. Now, obviously, partially the reason why is Metcalf got hurt. But it did feel like we wanted Bobo on the field more. And maybe this goes back to what I was talking about last week. We need him out there because he's a good run blocker. We need his run blocking because the other receivers on this team, Metcalf can run block well. He's not doing it well so far this year. Lockett and JSN have no real ability to run block. Bobo's your one consistently good run blocker. Maybe we want him out there because of that, because we only targeted him once, to my knowledge, in that game, and he dropped the pass. So we weren't putting him out there so we could feature him as a target. I think we're just putting him out there because we need the blocking, and would not mind seeing more of that as the year goes on. And I say that even knowing that Lockett played a good game and Bobo dropped his only targets. So, I think you go with it and see if he can help the run blocking. Chenault, nothing. Kind of interesting. Derek Young gets 1 snap. Don't really know what to read into that necessarily. Like, I guess Chenault was a little bit under the weather this week, but I thought he was totally fine by game day, so it's kind of weird that we just scrap his plays and just let him return kicks. He did have a nice play on special teams on coverage, though, so still did good. Tight end. Tight end. So, remember that stuff I was saying last week about how Fant can't run block, and that really kind of puts a little bit of a crimp in the offense? Well, in this game, he plays about half the snaps, 32. So it's a significant amount less than he's used to as a share of the offensive snaps. And he also had a very productive day. He was actually very good as a receiver. The other game this year, he was really good as a receiver. He actually played less than half the game. So maybe this is what we got to do with Noah Fant. We use him sparingly. We use him for about half the game. And he'll give you better reps per play when he's out there because he's not playing as much. And you let other players handle a good chunk of the other snaps. Like in this game, you got A.J. Barner with 24 snaps, which isn't like a season high for him or anything. He's had more than that in a couple other games. But out of only 60 snaps, 24 is a pretty good amount. So I think that you're seeing A.J. Barner maybe start to creep up a little bit and take those snaps. And then you got Pharaoh Brown with 18. 18 is not nothing either. So maybe this is the formula. Noah Fant is the best tight end on this team. He just can't do certain things very well at all. So maybe this is just the way you got to deal with that. And I like the idea. All right, offensive line. Let's jump over to the offensive line here. Really simple this week. We had, I don't even have Mike Gerald listed here. Let's go ahead and just punch him in now. I actually totally forgot to add him, which is a bad job by me because he is currently a Seattle sports legend. But yeah, Mike Gerald added to the list here at 60 snaps, and he played all 60 snaps along with Cross, Tomlinson, Connor Williams. Bradford plays 3/4 of the game. Haynes plays 15. I will say that I thought that Haynes had a very key block on the Ken Walker rushing touchdown, and I didn't notice anything too bad from either guy. To my knowledge, the one sack we allowed in this game was on Gerald's head. I could be wrong about that. I'm going to have to take a look at that again, but I would say that for this game, I don't know if the rotation hurt anything, at least. I still don't like it long term because I want those guys to be able to lock in during the week, knowing they're going to get to play the whole game or not play at all. But 45-15, we clearly have a preference here. It's just I don't know why you don't lean just that little bit further to where you just let Bradford play the whole game. Okay, defense now. We're going to do the defense. 73 snaps by the defense. Again, that's usually what happens when you're playing a competent offense and you have a non-offensive touchdown. We had the defensive touchdown. That's going to put your defense in a situation where they're just going to get a lot of plays run on them. But again, they weren't that productive, right? The Falcons ran the ball pretty well, but they were not very efficient throwing the ball. So they were able to move the ball enough to keep the ball in their possession and run plays. They just weren't able to cash in. So again, the snap deficit isn't always a terrible thing. Obviously, you'd prefer it to be a little bit better. But for this particular game, it's totally understandable why it happened, and it wasn't really anything that was hurting us. Especially because, remember, the Falcons ran some plays in garbage time. All right, defensive line, this is a thing of beauty right here, man. This is beautiful. And I gotta say, let me lead off with this. I'll skip down a little bit here, and I'll just say this. They found a way to get RRH on the field. My concern with the Roy Robertson Harris trade was not that he's a terrible player, not that we can't hypothetically benefit from having somebody like him on the team, but how is he going to get on the field? Well, he got on the field. And I think that a big part of it was we did see a few more three-man fronts, so maybe that is the strat. And I don't know if that's something we're going to see long term, but with the struggles these linebackers are having against the run, maybe you need to do it. So let me just go ahead and say that. They found snaps for Roy, which, hey, great. We didn't trade him for nothing. But look at this. Leonard Williams leads the way with 45 snaps out of 73. That's beautiful. That's a thing of beauty. Leonard Williams should be getting about that many snaps a game. We gave him all that money. He's a really good player. He's playing well. Let him get those reps. Jaron Reed, 36 snaps. Byron Murphy, 34 snaps. RRH, 27. Jonathan Hankins, back to a normal number of snaps because people are healthy, 17. 10 snaps for Mike Morris. That is a rotation that I can get behind, people. Now we're talking. All right? And again, I'm disappointed that apparently Mike Morris is such a bad player that he's basically your 6th defensive lineman, maybe 7th behind Draymond. But if he's that bad, then he's that bad. Better to not play him than play him if he really is that bad. And if you have to give up a future 6th-round pick to go get his replacement, and he's significantly better, I got no complaints about that. But this is a beautiful defensive line rotation, people. We keep this up the rest of the season, we're going to have success. We're not going to win every game, but we are going to win enough games to be satisfied because this is indicative of a team that is maintaining their balance in every game. Linebackers, Dodson plays basically the whole game. Remember, there was garbage time. Baker plays slightly less, but basically the whole game. Knight and Thomas both get out there for a little bit of garbage time reps. Good for both of them. Honestly, still not crazy about the way Baker and Dodson are playing. If there's anybody to really critique in this game, I think it would probably be them. Their run fits are still a mess. And obviously you're going to play rushing attacks that are weaker than Atlanta as the season goes on, but Tyrese Knight might need to be taking some reps from those guys permanently because I saw better things from Knight than I'm seeing from Baker and Dodson on some of these plays. Edge rusher, another thing of beauty here right now. Draymond Jones gets the lead snaps with 46. Remember, I think, I'll look this up on Pro Football Focus later, I believe he's playing some reps on the line, so he's playing 2 roles. But Derek Hall plays 42 snaps, Boye Mafe plays 36. That's beautiful right there. That's special. And the fact that they're able to get away with this, with having no edge rusher play more than 46 snaps, with Nwosu sidelined, is phenomenal. And they're doing it without Trevis Gibson, right? Gibson's not giving them anything. Bowser's gone. So it's not like Jamie Sheriff is taking up snaps, or Sheriff. This is a sign that things are playing out the way they need to play out on this team right now, right? Like, we did not need a guy like Boye Mafe playing 90% of the snaps all season, and it's clear we're just not going to let that happen, and I love it. Cornerbacks, a little bit of a mess this week because of all the injuries. Witherspoon plays the whole game except for garbage time. Nehemiah Pritchett actually played basically the whole game too, 69 snaps. Held strong, did what he could. It's not perfect, but it was never going to be. Josh Joby plays basically the whole game, 65 snaps. Held strong. I mean, he didn't get destroyed. That's all you can ask. D. Williams actually got 4 snaps as a cornerback. Fionn Hicks got 7 snaps. So it's one of those games where you just kind of survive. And you got to say they did survive. And again, I think in a game like this, that's all you can ask for. Safety. Very surprised with the strategy here. Julian Love plays basically the whole game except for garbage time. Kobe Bryant actually plays the whole game except for garbage time as well. So they skip over Kayvon and just say, Kobe, you're up. And I think Kobe may have played some of his reps at cornerback. I'm not 100% sure what his percentage of deployment was. I'll look it up later. But Kayvon Wallace remains like the third safety. They don't want to give him the full safety reps, which I find to be interesting. But hey, Kobe played a pretty good game. Kobe did all right. He did his thing. So, interesting strat. It worked well. Okada got his 6 snaps. That's it for Snap Count Monday. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think.